From Darling Stadium in Hampton, Virginia, Channel 5 presents Group AAA High School Football. The Hampton Crabbers hosting the Wilson Presidents. Good evening, everybody. I'm Tim Cole along with Bob Hintz. We welcome you to a warm and sultry Darling Stadium for the first game of this season. This game videotaped the 3rd of September, 1992, and we are happy to have you here for a big confrontation between the defending state Division 5 champion Wilson Presidents, 14-0 last year, and the 10-2 Eastern Region runner-up Hampton Crabbers. As you see some of the Hampton alumni in the stands, the crowd still filing in here at Darling Stadium. Temperature as we approach kickoff about 83 degrees. It's rather humid, very little breeze. A comfortable night for the fans, but Bob, this might be a little warm for the players, although they're probably in good condition by this point.
Well, I tell you, Tim, after starting in around the 1st of August, these young men are ready to hit somebody other than their own teammates. I look for a real exciting game. Hampton comes in with an untested quarterback, and Lagerman, although untested, almost started a game last year, so he's a fine athlete. The coaches are very high on him. On the other side, you got a brand new coach at head coach, was a defensive coordinator for 8 years, Joe Ladisic for the Presidents. But it's going to be just a fine game, Tim.
All right, and I know that a little earlier you had an opportunity to talk to head coach Mike Smith of the Hampton Crabbers. Let's take a look at that interview right now.
Bob Hintz with Coach Mike Smith of the Hampton Crabbers. Mike, opening season, 92, you got the defending state champions, Division 5, Wilson. They've got a new coach.
Well, I don't think he's new. He just got a new assignment. You know, he's been coaching over there for the last 7 years or so as a defensive coordinator, and they've been an outstanding defensive football team, so I don't think there's going to be a great deal of change when you move over from him to Darnell, for Darnell into coach being taken over. So defensively, I wouldn't expect any change at all. Offensively, I think with probably success, you know, and have been around Darnell for this number of years, he's probably going to do the same thing.
Okay. What about your team? I know you got a young quarterback, Lagerman, who was a pitcher. But one of the coaches said he took a lot of hits as a J on the me squad, so to speak, last year. So he's ready to go.
He better be ready. Yeah, he's, you know, he'll do the job. He's gonna make some mistakes. All of them, you know, gonna make mistakes. But I think he'll minimize them. He's mentally a tough kid. Physically, he's tough. He's not particularly a big physical kid. He's got good height. But I'm sure he'll handle it all right. He doesn't have any choice. He's got to do it.
Okay, let's talk about Newsom. You pulled him into the backfield. You felt like you added a real plus to your team.
Well, he's been a real fine football player for us. Started for the past 2 years at offensive guard and outside and inside linebacker. Had excellent speed, you know, and of course we decided that we were going to give him a shot in the backfield this year, and so far it's proven to be a good decision. We've had some guys that were able to move into the offensive line, pick up the slack, but his running abilities, he's got a natural instinct for running, and he's got good speed, he's got good power, so I'm expecting him to have a good year there.
Very good. Well, Mike, congratulations on an opening year, and good luck tonight.
Thanks, Bob.
Okay, let's go back.
Of course, the Hampton Crabbers, a rebuilding year. You mentioned, Bob, an untested quarterback in John Logerman. The Crabbers lost John Stein, who was an excellent receiver as well as a kicker. Sean Hamlet, Fred Brown, the starting quarterback for 2 years for the Crabbers, Shelton Snow, and on and on. But they return a pretty healthy nucleus for this Hampton team. They got a good, solid running back, stable, and of course defense is always a big word here at Hampton Crabberland.
That defensive six front line that he throws at him is an excellent defense.
And you also had an opportunity a little while ago to talk to the new head coach over at Wilson, and that would be Joe Ladisic. And let's take a time out right now and listen to that interview with head coach Ladisic of the Wilson Presidents.
Bob Hintz with Coach Joe Ladisic from Woodrow Wilson High. Coach, first year, you're going against tough power in Hampton.
Yeah, I sure am. Open up with Hampton, first game is going to be a test for me. But if I got to play somebody, why not play the best?
There you go. Listen, I know this is new for you as far as a head coach, but you've been with the Presidents for quite a while.
Yeah, I've been an assistant coach there for 8 years.
Okay. Tell me just a little bit about your team. Give me an overview.
Well, I think we're real young, inexperienced, but they're scrappers or fighters, and I think overall we'll do all right. We'll do all right.
Okay. You were the defensive coordinator last year, so they kind of expect defense to be kind of on the uprise.
Yeah, but I kind of studied the offense too pretty well, and I'm a little bit more offensive minded than most people think I am.
Okay, very good. Well, listen, congratulations on your appointment to head coach, and good luck for you tonight and the rest of the season.
Thank you.
Okay.
Could hear the playing of the national anthem by the Hampton High School marching band. Speaking of the Wilson Presidents, of course, that interview with Joe Ladisic. Joe comes in replacing the very successful Darnell Moore over at Wilson. And he does have some big shoes to fill, but he's got some fine young men on offense, at least, to concentrate with this Darren Sparrow, Aaron Sparrow's brother, and certainly a leader in his own right. And then Bruce Deloche, who was the leading rusher last year.
He's a great running back, Tim. Yes, he is.
So we should have a very fine matchup between two really fine teams. In fact, this could be the playoffs of the Eastern region down the road, because talking a little bit, if we may, about the realignment of the different teams by divisions.
Well, the change has been in the Hampton school systems. Hampton High School and Kecoughtan were both Division 6. They have both dropped down to Division 5, which will eliminate two teams with the possibility of getting into the playoffs. And as we will see later on, you will find that 4 teams from the Hampton, which are really good, trying to get for 2 spots in the playoffs. So let's look at the starting lineups, if we may, Tim.
All right, these will be for the Wilson Presidents, I believe. We'll initially see the lineup on offense. Whitfield will be the center. Guards are Williams and Lewis. Hurdle and Banks are the tackles. The end is Carton. Continuing on the offense for Wilson, the wide receiver is Smith. Strather will be another wide receiver. The running backs are Deloche and Hicks, and the quarterback is Darren Sparrow. Now, he is questionable because of an injury he suffered in some preseason scrimmage.
That's correct.
I understand he will start, but how long he'll play and how effective he'll be will be a big question.
Well, that's a good point. Here's the Hampton defense. At guards, we have Vick and Tucker. At the tackles, Volk and Tynes. At the ends, Tisdale and Fenner. At the defensive secondary, I'll get it out, linebackers, Kemmer and Newsom. Corners, Ford and Johnson, and Milo will be the safety. As you took a look at the Hamptons in their huddle just before breaking out.
The Crabbers lost 2 games last year. Of course, they are not the reigning champions of the Peninsula District as they had been for 15 years, either sharing or outwardly owning that. Bethel beat Hampton 9-3 last year to win the Peninsula District Championship. And then the Crabbers lost to First Colonial 24-14 to end up 10-2 on the season. Here's Wilson's defense. Whitfield is the nose guard. The tackles are Banks and Williams. The ends are Carton and Hicks. You see a lot of two-way players for both of these squads. A lot of these names repeat. The linebackers are Boone and Royster.
That's the monster
man is Beavers. Deloche is one corner. Strother is another, and Shepard will be the safety for Joe Ladisic's Wilson Presidents. You see some of the concessions here, which we partook of before we came on.
Look at the Hampton offense. We have center Gary. The guards are Kimmer and Tynes. The tackles Tucker and Vick. tight end is Peyton.
Well, I tell you, both squads use a lot of two-way players.
Really is. As we have split end, we have Randall, the flanker, is Wilson. Ellenson is the fullback. Newsom
Captain Sparrow, meet the
is the tailback, and Logeman is the quarterback.
Logeman,
I'm sorry.
All right, let's go out to the center of the field at the toss of the coin.
Have the toss. I'd like to introduce the other officials. Mr. Hurst on my right, Mr. Ficklin, Mr. Mitchell, Mr. Easton. Okay. Hampton, you have won the toss. You've elected to receive. You elected to defend this goal down here. Would you put your backs to your goals, please? Hampton has won the toss and will receive. Gentlemen, let's shake hands. Let's have a good ball game. Thank you.
All right, the gentleman you heard, and we appreciate his cooperation in miking him with our wireless microphone. There you see the officials. The referee is Kenny Self. Don Hurst is the umpire. Ficklin is the line judge. Eason is the back judge, and Mike Mitchell, excuse me, Eason is the judge, and the back judge is Mike Mitchell.
66.
We have a change in the number. Vic will be number 66 instead of 77 on the Hampton roster.
Wilson's going to have change too.
All right. We also have a change for Wilson. At any rate, Hampton has won the toss and will receive. They will be to our right, and of course the red and white uniforms, the Wilson Presidents, in the white uniforms with the blue helmets and blue numerals.
Okay. Is it better now? Okay.
Back deep for the Crabbers, Walter Ford, number 2, standing inside the 5-yard line. Also on the left side is Desmond Wilson, and number 21, Steve Randall for the Crabbers. Kicking off will be Chris Beavers, number 32, the monster man on defense. And we're set to go for 12-minute quarters in high school football. Hold on to your seats. This should be a good one, and a short kick, kicked out of bounds, and a flag will fly. The ball will be awarded to the Crabbers. They can elect to have Wilson kick it off again, and why exactly the Presidents chose to kick the ball out of bounds in such a manner, I'm not sure. It was not an apparent attempt for an onside kick, as it was kicked much too far for such, but let's see. Illegal procedure against the Presidents, and I believe Hampton will make them kick again, although they could have kicked the ball at the 32-yard line.
Yes, they could have taken it there, or at the 35. Actually, they get the ball at the 35. I believe, no, wait a second, they're going to make them kick again. We have another change. Carden will be 60 instead of 80, and Tim
Burkett?
Yes, I can't read that. My glasses aren't as good as your eyes. 78.
78, okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll kick it again. The time on the clock, still 12 minutes. Someone has opened up a mic that is deafening me. I don't know about you. I can't hear it.
Is that you talking to me?
We have mounted some crowd mics, and they're a little bit loud, Mr. Director. Thank you. We can finally hear again. All right, we'll try it again from the Wilson 35-yard line. Again, Ford back in the deep receiving position for the Crabbers. And Kenny Self signals with us try it again. And again, I'm not quite sure why Beavers chose to kick a short kick like that. And again, they tried. This is an onside attempt, and it goes the necessary 10 yards. And the Crabbers do have it right at the Wilson 45-yard line.
Well, I'll tell you why they tried the onside, Tim. The reason being is they don't have a kicker that can get the ball very far down. The day I was over talking with Coach Logistic, they were trying to find somebody who could kick the ball. So that's probably the reason that they went to the onside kick. Great field position for the Hampton Crabbers. They're at their 45, at the 45 of the Presidents.
Yeah, the Wilson's 45. All right. Logeman is at quarterback for the Crabbers. And on the first play from scrimmage, he gives to number 5, Myron Newsom, who last year played strictly defense for the Cowboys.
He played offensive guard too.
Well, okay, he played defense. I'm sorry, you're absolutely right. He did not play as a running back.
That's correct. But they felt like that he could be as good as any running back they've had at Hampton High School. They're very high on the young man, a lot of speed. He's not very big, but on defense he's noted as a great hitter.
1 yard on the carry, 2nd down and 9 at the 44 of Wilson. To the near side comes Desmond Wilson, setting up in a flanker position. Logerman straight up the middle, a fumble, the ball is loose. It looks like the Wilson Presidents will get it.
And they do. I'm not sure if that was on the handoff or what. Didn't look like the running back got a hold of the ball, and I'm not sure if that was to Ellenson or Newsom, the intended ball carrier, but big turnover for the Crabbers and a nice break for the Presidents.
So Wilson will start from their 41-yard line. We'll see the fumble again. Well, hold on. Yeah, here we go. There you see the ball just was popped loose. Someone reached in and grabbed it.
Well, I don't think he really had control of it.
Sparrow starts at quarterback on the option. Pitches back to Deloach. Deloach is thrown for a loss back at the 38-yard line.
Number 65 for the Hampton Crabbers, Timothy Gary, was right on top of Sparrow when he pitched that ball.
So the option play to the left does not work for Wilson. The Crabber defense was all set for that one. A loss on the play of 4. That'll be 2nd down and 14 for the Presidents.
Well, you'll see one thing about the Hampton Crabbers. They have a very quick, very aggressive defense. They play a wide tackle 6, hard to run on, and they are very aggressive. Looked like number 74, Lloyd Tucker, was the man that they tried to move out of the way, pick up of a couple yards, still 3rd and long.
So the ball just across the Wilson 40. As you said, Bob, 3rd down and about 11. Darren Sparrow over center. Sparrows drops straight back, wants to pass, has time. The left-hander throws deep, and he's got a man open. Contact, but no flag forthcoming.
Well, that was number 2 for the Crabbers, who is Walter Ford, who has played defensive back. Did a good job going for the ball. Contact was made, but they were both going for the ball incidental at this point.
9:38 remains in the first period. We have no score. If you just joined us, you're watching Wilson Presidents of Portsmouth and the Hampton Crabbers in a battle of Division 5 Titans. Beavers high snap, but gets the kick away, rushes it, and didn't really have to do so. It gets a good roll. Ball is bobbled at the 28-yard line. Ford picks it up and picks his way out to about the 42-yard line.
Well, he picked up good yardage on a almost could have been a big mistake when that ball hit and took a funny bounce, and he never got a clean catch on it. But their punter is not impressive, but he may have just forced it. What a good job of the punter to get the ball bad snap.
So the Crabbers will take over for the second offensive series of the game at their 37-yard line. Wide receivers to the left and the right. Logerman gives left side, big gainer for Brian Milo. And Milo goes out of bounds shy of a first down at about the 45-yard line.
That was a nice blocking on the left side of the line. They just kind of sealed off the Presidents. They were looking for something up the middle, and the Crabbers went outside. Both teams are hitting hard on defense at this point.
Well, you know, you don't get to be perennial champions like both of these teams are without having good defensive teams. And every year, the Crabbers and Wilson do have good defenses. 2nd down and a yard. Good passing situation. The Crabbers instead stick to the ground, and Wilson is there for the loss on the play.
Well, what happened was an inside handoff to Ellison. And Tim, it was like a trap, and it never got over there. He was hit. The defensive penetration was before they could get to the line of scrimmage. Loss of a couple on that. And I apologize for the names. I have a good friend of mine who's Ellison, and I keep wanting to make him out here playing, and I know he can't play. I apologize to Shelley.
43-yard line on the option play. Pitch back, and tough running by number 5, Myron Newsom, as he picks up an apparent first down.
And I
He
tell
was
you,
not to be denied.
I tell you, it was a great job on the quarterback, Lagerman, because he waited until he was almost hit before he pitched the ball. Defense pulled into him, as we'll see on the, as you can see, coaching staff there on the Crabber sideline. Milo's going in. But watch the pitch. Well, that's not quite slow motion yet. But
You got the idea, though. First down for Hampton, their initial first down of the ball game at their 49.
well, they got 2 wide receivers to the right this time, something a little different, trying to spread the defense out a little bit.
This time, Brian Milo goes to the left side and picks up good yardage to the Wilson 47. Pickup of about 4.5. Let's call it a 5-yard gain and make it second down and 5. First game jitters are both teams. They look like they're just a little bit nervous. They fumble on the second play from scrimmage for the Crabbers, and then a bad snap on the center, and another fumble on the receiving, but they'll settle in. Pitch back goes to Walter Ford, who is again another two-way player for Hampton. He gets to the Wilson 45 before he's stopped.
Well, what's happening right now is Mike Smith is relaying the plays in with Ford and Milo. Those are the 2 young men he's using to rotate, as you see Milo come in and Ford come out.
And a two-way player, Dennis Strother, number 24 for the Presidents. There you see him in your picture, is shaken up a bit. He looks to be okay. He may have just cut a helmet in the ribs or something, which is very painful, although he is limping a bit.
Well, he plays wide receiver on offense, and then he plays one of the defensive cornerbacks. He comes up to help stop the run. And the young man played last year, so that would be a blow to the Presidents should they lose him.
I had a chance to watch a couple of plays ago when you saw the Crabbers get that first down. There you see one of the larger, beefier Wilsons. That's number 61. That's
260.
260. Yeah, he's Javon
Here we go.
Winfield.
Nice job.
They had him by the rubber band there, but they couldn't keep him from getting the first down.
I was wondering, either that or was cobwebs. I'm not sure what that was.
I don't know.
But great job by Newsom to get that first down. Third and what it looks like about 4.
3rd and 4 now for Hampton. All just shy of the Wilson 45. We have 7:09 remaining in the first period, and we've got that man jumping off. That'll give the Crabbers a first down.
Yes, it will.
So Hampton, using that irregular cadence, is able to get the Presidents to jump offside, or at least commit the encroachment penalty, if I can correct myself.
Well, and that's what it is encroachment. In high school football, you
Dead
cannot
ball
go
foul, encroachment on the defense. That's a first down.
You can't go in that neutral zone until the ball is snapped. In your college and your pros, you can jump in and out as long as you don't make contact. A little different in high school. Mike Smith uses that to his advantage many, many times.
So another first down registered for the Crabbers. This is
Newsom.
Myron Newsom across the 40 to about the Wilson 37-yard line. Pick up of 3. 6:40 remaining in the first period.
Well, I did a little show with Mike Smith. Talked to him a little bit about his offensive philosophy, and when he first came into coaching, he, pass was almost a dirty word, a 4-letter word that you didn't want to hear. He kept the ball on the ground. He says, but as the game evolved and you can send out wide receivers, you stretch that defense, gives you more options.
Brian Milo gets the call. And gets across the Wilson 35 to the 34. So it'll be 3rd down and 4 now for Hampton.
I'm sure people in the stands are a little bit like me. When is young Lagerman going to put the ball up for the first time with pressure? He's a good pitcher on the baseball team and an excellent passer. So we're all kind of looking, but if you're moving the ball on defense, you keep, I mean, on the ground, you keep using what's working.
Pitch goes to Ford. Ford turns the corner and is knocked out of bounds inside the 10-yard line.
What a nice job by young Mr. Ford, Walter Ford, who is, Tim, is just a junior, 5'9", 160. Watch the replay. He broke that nice blocking on the left side of the line. Watch the kick-out block there. Boom, nice hole. Outruns number 45, LaSalle Boone, and is finally caught by, that's the Dante Shepard, the safety, was the last man that had a chance at him.
So first and goal at the Wilson 8-yard line for the Crabbers. Logerman over center. Gives again to Ford. Ford to the 5. So Walter Ford with the big gainer gives the Crabbers a second down now. Second down and goal just inside the 5-yard line.
That was an off-tackle play, that big run by Ford. That line did a great job of kicking out the end and the linebacker on that side to spring him. You know, the runner looks good, but you look at that line, they did a great job, Tim.
Year after year, people, and ourselves included in that group of individuals, ask the question, how does Hampton keep coming up with such fine programs? And of course, I'll get to that in just a moment. And now a flag is tossed before the ball is snapped. And what I started to say was that one of the things we've asked Danny Mitchell, we've asked Coach Mike Smith and others, how does Hampton keep coming up with this? We've got encroachment on the penalty against Wilson, so that'll be half the distance. And they go back to one thing. They teach basic execution, the basic fundamental executions. You block, you tackle, you execute.
Dead ball foul, encroachment on the defense, still second down.
And that is exactly what Mike said. He's got two great coaches, been with him a long time, and Albus Mann and Danny Mitchell. I don't want to take away from his other coaches, but they are great teachers of fundamentals.
This is a touchdown.
Newsom got his first one of the year.
So Myron Newsom from 3 yards out scores the touchdown.
Tim, that's the first time in many years that you and I have sit up here and done a Hampton game that Hampton did not put the ball in the air at all in their first series of plays.
Extra point try is up and is good.
That was kind of a floater.
63 yards in 10 plays, and the Crabbers consumed 5 minutes and 7 seconds.
Well, they average about 5 yards to play on that thing. Watch the score again as they go over the right side. Number 5, who's the back of the screen. Myron Newsom gets the ball, goes right over, right between the tackle and the guard, and they did an excellent job on the right side. The tackle and the guard on the right side of the Hampton Crabber line opened a beautiful hole.
The extra point was good by Mark Brumham, and we were led to believe we would see extra points and field goals kicked by Lawton, but I guess that's going to change. I didn't read my early information. There you see the score. I know, I can't hear you either. The Hampton faithful have something to clap and applaud about. A good contingent of Hampton Crabber fans on this side. Wilson crowd still piling in. I'll tell you, if people over in Portsmouth knew how easy it is to get here on 664, they'd have the side of the stands filled to capacity. Fumbled on the kick, picked up. This is Strother, and Strother, as so many times you see it, makes a big gainer, finally dragged down inside the Hampton 50-yard line.
Well, the coverage overran the kick, but two people were going for the ball for the Wilson Presidents. Strother ended up with it. I didn't catch the number of the other young man, and almost costly mistake turned into a real positive. Gets the ball in the Hampton territory. Watch the replay of this kickoff.
36-yard return. There you saw the fumbling action. all of it, but while you were watching that on the field,
Here we go, Tim.
all right, here we go. There's no gain on the play. Incomplete pass, second down and 10 for the Wilson Presidents. In motion to the near side. The pitch goes to Deloche. Deloche is pursued and is dragged out of bounds after a short gain, if any.
Walter Ford and who's that, 32, Milo, were in on that tackle.
Well, I tell you, that was fine pursuit. That was Fenner, Michael Fenner, number 32 for the Crabbers.
We got a flag face mask, Tim, against the Crabbers.
So that fine defensive effort will be nullified by the penalty. While they're marking off the penalty, we want to make you aware of a special program that's coming up here on Channel 5. It's called Life After the Layoff.
Face mask on the defense. It's first down.
I'll get back to that program. I want to tell you more about that when we have a little more time. Let's stay with the game right now. But so that fine defensive effort is wiped out by the face mask call as the ball is advanced to the Hampton 27-yard line. So the Presidents are right back in business, trailing 7-0, but deep in Hampton territory. It's Aaron Sparrow rolling, looking. The left-hander throws. He's got a man open, and it's just overthrown. And again, we've seen this before. A lot of times the team is always thinking right-handed, and when you get a left-handed quarterback, as I believe Aaron Sparrow's, his brother Aaron was left-handed as well.
It's hard for me to remember, but you're right. Most of the time, 95% of the time, you're going to run across the right-handed quarterback. You come up to a left-hander, he can roll that side, makes it easier to throw for him.
Stopping the clock with 4:07 remaining here in the first period. Second down and 10 at the Hampton 27. This is Deloche, and he is stopped after a short gain. In the middle of that pack, making the stop was number 74, Lloyd Tucker Jr., a name a lot of people would remember from last year. Another two-way performer for the Hampton Crabbers.
6'2", 250 senior, one of the leaders on that defense.
They look for him to be the anchor of the middle of that line. Pickup of about a yard. So it's third down and 9 for the Presidents. 3:33 remaining in the first. 7-0 Hampton on a 3-yard touchdown by the Crabbers. Brian Newsom.
Tim, I was watching Deloche in the backfield. He actually come out of his three-point stance before the ball was snapped, but there was not a flag thrown. And he was concentrating on the ball. And who was that? Was that Milo?
No, that was Fenner.
Whoa.
Fenner, number 32. And I mean, he just teed off, much to the delight of the Hampton fans.
Oh, and let me tell you, it makes you feel good to deliver that hit.
Makes you feel good you're up here and not down there on the receiving end. Motion in the backfield, and that was legal, I guess. No flag, and Sparrow is sacked. And that time it was Myron Newsom on the sack.
But he got a lot of help.
Myron, I mentioned a moment ago, I started to say Milo scored the Hampton touchdown. He did not. Newsom scored the Hampton touchdown. And now Newsom makes the sack, and the Crabbers will take over. It was 4th and 11, and the Crabber defense that has played extremely well all game long, except for that face mask call. The Presidents really haven't been able to move the ball. Here's the replay. Well, we've lost our picture in the booth here, so we won't be able to tell you what you're looking at.
So just watch it.
Just watch it. Take my word for it.
You will love it.
Brian Milo out close to the 40-yard line on the carry. Pickup of about 5.
I tell you, that defensive stop by Newsom, he did a good job, but he had a lot of help from 2 tackles in there. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was Tynes and Tucker were the 2 defensive also back, there was 3 Hampton people that put a lot of pressure that time on young Mr. Sparrow.
Inside of 2 minutes remaining in the first period. Hampton now at the 39-yard line. Wilson gets the pass. That is Desmond Wilson. And he is close to a first down out at the 45-yard line.
He's going to be about the length of the football short, depending on the spot, but he will be a little bit short. Almost broke that thing. That's just, they call that like almost like a slip screen. You pop the ball out to your wide receiver, who has not gone downfield, and you bring out an offensive end and a tackle to help block the way. I don't know if we have that on replay, but that's called a slip screen, and a great job by Desmond Wilson. After he caught the ball, he was hit, still picked up 2 or 3 yards.
Logeman looking over to the sidelines, getting final instructions, and unfortunately he took too much time in doing so. And a 5-yard penalty, big 5-yard penalty with a 3rd and less than a yard to go. Now it'll be 3rd down and more than 5. So Logeman uncertain.
Delay game, offense, still 3rd down.
Logeman uncertain had looked over to the sideline to the coaches, who are, as you said earlier, giving all of the plays to Logeman, taking that pressure off of the young junior. But in doing so, they did cause a delay of game penalty. So the Crabbers now will look at a 3rd and long instead of a 3rd short. Clock stopped with 45 seconds remaining in the first period. Now Logeman has them set, and another penalty flag. Let's see what this is about. I don't think this would be a delay of the game.
No, it came from the side judge, so it could very well be encroachment against the Wilson presence until that's exactly what it is. So you're right back where you were, 3rd and less than a yard.
So offsetting penalties in the sense that no one gained anything from those back-to-back.
Dead ball foul, encroachment, defense, still 3rd down.
At least the official got exercise. Walk back 5 yards, walk forward 5 yards, burn a little calories.
So we're right back where we were, 3rd and short. And Myron Newsom gets the first down across the 46 to about the 47. Crabbers show real fine power off tackle with that play. Newsom is a big man at 6 foot, 205 pounds, so he generates his own thrust, but then they're getting real fine off the ball blocking by the right side of the offensive line for Hampton.
Sean Kemmer, number 55, replaces Volk in the Crabber lineup.
Backfield handoff to Newsom, and Newsom is dragged down by number 66 of Wilson. That would be Kwame Banks. After a loss on the play, well, actually no gain. He got back to the line of scrimmage, so no gain on the play, no loss either. And that will be the end of the first period. So we've played 12 minutes here at Darling Stadium. I'll give you a chance to mention that in a minute, Bob. Let me finish my thought here. We want to mention a special program coming up here on Channel 5. It's called Life After the Layoff. There is life after unemployment. Tune into a special program that will provide the information needed to get back on the right track. Local representatives from the Virginia Employment Commission, the Hampton City Schools, the United Way, Hampton Social Services, Thomas Nelson Community College's Center for Business and Community Services will tell how their services can be used in a time of need. This is on Hampton City Cable Channel 5, the one you're watching right now, beginning September the 11th at 9 p.m., September the 12th at 6 p.m., and again Sunday, September 13th at 9 p.m. Be sure and watch this special program, Life After the Layoff, right here on Channel 5. Okay, Bob?
And we will pick a Sports Place DC engraving player of the game. Player of the game will receive a shirt and a plaque for tonight's game, thanks to the Sports Place located at Hampton Woods Plaza. Dave Chubb is the young man there, and the DC engraving out of Tab Square, David Buckwalder is a young man out there, and we sure appreciate their efforts in helping us recognize a player of the game for the Hampton City Schools.
While you were reading that, Bob, our director, Scotty Bowers, showed us that big gainer by Myron Newsom that set up, excuse me, I say Newsom Ford,
Right.
rather, that set up the touchdown by Newsom. As we get set to start the second quarter.
Who may be one of our considerations for player of the game. Both of those young men.
Several leading candidates right now. I found it interesting that Lugerman has yet to throw the football.
Oh, he threw it one time, and
One time.
that's slip screen.
That's right. That was the one time. Picked up 5 yards on it. All right, on the halfback draw. And the Crabbers get back to the line of scrimmage, and that's all, as the Presidents were waiting for that one. That was the delayed handoff to Brian Milo, and Wilson was waiting.
Well, the defense didn't get deep enough in the backfield for that to work that time. It may have been just a little bit off on this timing, but that's a good play, good call at that situation.
Well, as I was incorrect in stating he had not thrown the ball, you have to figure there's a point in time when he will start to throw the ball, so that's when you look for that type of play, the draw play, which will get the defense to overcommit. And now we've got another penalty.
Another delay of the game.
So you've got some first game uneasiness, I guess you might call it here. Some of the uncertainties of the actual in combat type things. So they
Delay a game. Offense.
So the Crabbers will back up 5 yards. I'd say all things considered so far, both teams have played very well considering the first game of the season and a short practice time between when they started and the first game on Thursday, the 3rd of September. Tim Cole and Bob Hintz coming to you from Darling Stadium in Hampton. You're watching Hampton and Wilson. Presidents are the reigning state Division V champions. Pass downfield, and just out of the hands of the intended receiver, Steve Randall, as he had to turn around. The ball was not on the side that he originally was expecting the ball. Should have caught it. But,
that was an excellent pass pattern. They sent another man down, and he cut across the middle, and he pulled that defensive man with him. And number 21 for the Crabbers, Steve Randall, almost had 6. That was a nice pass pattern. Good call.
So the Crabbers now looking at 4th and long, will be in deep punt formation. Pressure coming, and just got it away. Ball is down by one of the Hampton Crabbers. The punter was Steve Redfern, number 42. And again, we were given the information to expect to see Lawton as the kicker for Hampton, but he has not made an appearance either in punting or in extra point tries. So the Presidents will take over at their 32-yard line, trailing 7-0. 10:58 remaining in the first half. It's pretty much been all Hampton Crabbers so far. Here's the replay, as time will allow, of the incomplete pass. Here you see Lugerman with plenty of time, the offensive line giving him good protection. He threw the ball right on target, but a little bit behind Randall. To his defense, he had to turn around. As we go back to the live action, the incomplete pass for the Wilson Presidents, as Sparrow was trying to find Quinton Morris, number 42, and was unable to do so. But there, you saw what I'm talking about, is Randall had to kind of turn around, which is really tough when you're in full flight like that. Ball was there, it was catchable, but let's not forget that these are high school players, and not everyone is going to catch all those passes.
Well, that's true, and it's easy to get thrown off your step when you have to turn around from one side to the other.
Lugerman really did a fine job of laying that ball in his hands. 2nd down and 10, good look at Darren Sparrow, senior quarterback at Wilson. No delay of game. The crowd on this side was calling for something to be called. They thought it was an extraordinary amount of time taken by Sparrow, but no flags were forthcoming. Deloach carried around the right side, number 22. Bruce Deloach, the senior, 5'8", 165 for Wilson. He picked up about 7. 3rd down and about 3 for Wilson.
And that's just a power sweep football. You have a back on the right side, you put the other back in motion that side, and you pitch, and you just get student body to the right.
So far, the Presidents are +3 in the yardage on the ground category, according to Gary Moore's statistics. And they picked up maybe a yard there, which will bring up a 4th down. So only 4 yards net on the ground for Wilson, with a little more than 10 minutes to go in the first half.
Well, they lost a ton on that sack on 4th down during the first quarter, but we'll see now if they don't look like they're going to punt. They're going to go for it. 4th down and less than 1.
Or are they going to try and pull Hampton off? Nope. They are going for it, and they've got it. Good looking play. They got the first down and plenty more as the handoff straight to Quentin Saunders. And I think it kind of caught Hampton by surprise on that play.
Well, they were in tight, expecting something up the middle, and they went wide with it. As a gutsy call by the Presidents, because they're at their own field.
Yeah.
They were on, what about the 44-yard line?
Yep.
So that is a gutsy call.
Officials timeout.
We have an
Stopping the clock
equipment.
with 9:45.
Looked like equipment problem there.
So the Presidents get the first down. As you said, a gutsy call. This does not count against either team as far as district play is concerned, but it certainly counts in the overall power ratings and so forth for the season.
Power rating is very big in this game tonight.
Same ball carrier, about 3 yards on the carry. That was, again, number 44.
Look like they're getting some
Quentin
good
Saunders.
crack black box on the Crabbers that time. Excuse me, I don't mean to talk over you that time, but they kind of sealed off the Crabbers. Picked up 3 or 4 yards.
The ball is squarely at midfield with 9:09 remaining in the first half. Sparrow rolling to his right. Has 3 Hampton defenders there. Does a good job of getting away from one would-be tackler. And then is driven out of bounds at about the Hampton 46-yard line.
Tim, that was a naked bootleg all the way. He was not looking to do anything but run the ball. Was not even thinking about passing.
They mark it at the Hampton 46. You saw 3 Hampton defenders waiting for him, and you saw a good move by Sparrow as he got away from one would-be tackler, but not very much, as they closed in on him and drove him out of bounds. And brings up now, well, let's see, they're going to bring the chain.
No, it's 3rd down and about 2, Tim, it looks like.
They were slow in marking the ball on the field. I wasn't sure whether they were looking at something as far as a penalty or something of that nature. A timeout is being called for and taken by the Wilson Presidents with 8:58 left here in the first half. And again, we want to remind you about that special program, Life After the Layoff. Be sure and watch Hampton City Schools Cable Channel 5 for Coping with Unemployment, a special cable cast that will feature local representatives from the Virginia Employment Commission, Hampton City Schools, Hampton Social Services, the United Way, and Thomas Nelson Community College, who will tell you how to use their organization's resources and services when you're unemployed. The program again will air Friday the 11th at 9, Saturday the 12th at 6 p.m., and Sunday the 13th again at 9 p.m. here on Channel 5. If you're not sure of those times for the airing of that program, just refer to the calendar of events on the Channel 5, and there'll be a lot of reminders for you about that program. A very timely program, and certainly one that I think will be very helpful for a lot of people.
And while we got a timeout, again, I'd like to tell you we will be picking a Sports Place DC Engraving Player of the Game. Excuse me, the player of the game will receive a plaque and a shirt for tonight's game, thanks to the Sports Place at Hampton Woods Plaza. Dave Chubb is the young man there, and the plaque, of course, will come from DC Engraving, located at Tab Square on Route 17. David Buckwalder is the young man there.
3rd down and about 2.5 to go for the first. And in motion to the near side. This is DeLoach, and he is stripped of the ball. It's recovered by the Presidents, but it will be 4th down.
What a great job by the Hampton defender to strip the ball. Didn't come up with it. That was number 32, I believe, that for the Crabbers. That is that Milo?
No, that's Fenner.
Fenner, I keep this. Oh, Milo's 35.
It's early, first game of the year. We got to get used to these numbers. I'm not sure it was. I thought it was 55. Sean Kemmer.
Well, may have been.
But maybe the replay will show us if we get a chance to see that. But now a timeout, and this is going to be Hampton. So the Crabbers want a timeout. It's 4th down. Almost 5 yards to go for the first down. And Mike Smith trots out on the field to talk to his group. Here's the replay.
No, it was number 70. You're right.
No, it wasn't right. Actually, it wasn't 32, but it was Ruben Volk, number 70. So I'm glad our replay was able to correct that. And again, we apologize to Mr. Volk for not recognizing immediately his fine effort.
Well, by the time I saw him strip the ball and looked, he had about 4 people on top of him. So it kind of obliterated the number, but nice job. He just shot the gap, got in the backfield. I don't know if somebody was pulling or what was happening in front of him, but he did a great job of causing the Presidents to lose some yardage.
6'2", 180-pound junior. Mr. Volk will be around for this season as well as next for the Hampton Crabbers. The ball is at the Hampton 48-yard line. It is 4th down for the Presidents, and they are showing a deep punt formation. And I say that because when they might have punted a while ago, they chose to run the ball, but they were in a running formation at that time.
Well, and they were a lot closer than 4 yards too, Tim. I think it was had about 1.5 yards. Well, let's see what kind of a center. Last time the center snap almost went over the kicker's head.
And this one does. Boy, you call that one. Now, is he going to get it away? He gets the kick away. It's a short kick. Takes a good roll for the Wilson Presidents, and then down. Why, I'm not sure.
Yeah, that could have bounced another 5 yards or
Quentin
so.
Saunders down the ball and had the end-over-end momentum. It might have gone, as you said, another 4, 5, 10 yards. Who knows with the football. But nonetheless, the Wilson Presidents got a break there because
they dodged the bullet, and that punter, Tim, I don't know who he is.
That's Chris Beavers.
Well, what a job 2 times.
That's why here you see it again. You'll see him out of your picture, but that ball way over his head. He did a good job, maintained his poise, and then kicked the ball. Now watch the ball. It's taking a definite Wilson bounce here, and for no apparent reason, Saunders came over and downed the ball for the Presidents, much to the Hampton delight, I'm sure. Air back to the live action as we see the ball carrier, Myron Newsom, carries out to the 35-yard line, a pickup of 2 for the Crabbers.
Tim, one thing about that punt, the punter turned around to chase the ball, bounced straight up to him, did not bounce away from him. Had it took one more bounce away from him, he would have never got the punt away. 2 Crabbers were zeroing in on him.
That's twice he's been very fortunate.
Yes.
They've had bad snaps from center on both of those punt attempts, and both times have dodged a serious bullet. 2nd down and 8 for Hampton. Out of the eye, Logerman taking a long time on the count. Gets the ball and is also going to be very roughly thrown to the ground by number 85, and that is Kevin Cross of the Presidents. So Logerman did not have an opportunity to set up and throw as the Presidents put good pressure on him. And he had to eat the ball for a substantial loss back to the 26. A 9-yard loss on the play for Hampton. Gary Moore, our able statistician, back with us again this year. We're real happy to have Gary and all of our crew intact from our, seems like just yesterday we were doing baseball for Kickintan, and here we are back at Darling Stadium for the 1992 high school football season. 3rd down and long for the Crabbers. Logerman in an obvious passing situation throws the ball, and the ball is knocked away. Some contact downfield with Desmond Wilson and the Wilson Presidents defenders, but it was not interference, and it was correctly not called. So the Crabbers will look at 4th down and about 17 and will punt the ball away. We'll see coming on again number 42, Stephen Redfern, back in deep punt formation for Hampton. So when Pat Welch was kicking extra points and the like last year for the Hampton Crabbers, and I think John Stein did some kicking as well.
Yeah, but this is who I have as the punter and the kicker.
Fumbled and recovered by the Wilson Presidents. Yeah, you had the right punter. Is the only thing I've had incorrect was the kicker was supposed to be Lawton, and we've seen someone else. We've seen Mark Bramham kicking the extra point. But nonetheless, Redfern does a good job of getting the ball downfield. The Presidents now will set up from their 44-yard line with a little more than 6 minutes remaining in the first half. Hampton holding on to a 7-0 lead. If you joined us late, Myron Newsom scored from 3 yards out in the first quarter with 4:31 remaining. The Crabbers drove the ball 63 yards on 10 plays and consumed 5 minutes and 7 seconds in scoring the only touchdown of the ball game.
Again. Whoa, what a game that young man's having.
Deloche, the premier running back for Wilson, has yet to get on track, as the Crabbers have definitely got his number in the first half.
Well, I tell you, Tim, that was again that student body to the right, young Mr. Reuben Volk, who is 6'2", 180 junior, playing a defensive tackle, shot the gap, got in front of or behind the interference. I mean, the lead blockers, and threw young Mr. Deloach for about a 5-yard loss.
2nd and 15. Sparrow rolling, looking, left-hander tosses, had a man open and hits him at the 41-yard line.
And it was a catch.
Oh yeah, it was definitely a fine-looking play, and on the receiving end was number 21, Dontre Smith, a junior wide receiver, and he got a first down at the Hampton 41-yard line.
And I was looking for the first receiver, the closest receiver, as a potential.
Strother, number 24,
yes.
I thought he overthrew him, and in fact he had 2 receivers in the same zone, and very accurately hit the pass completion. First down at the Hampton 42. Sparrow rolling and being sacked. And again, this is Mr. Fenner, 32, Michael Fenner, who has come over and makes the tackle.
And he's slow getting up to him. He may have twisted his arm or something on that tackle.
Boy, this would be a big loss for the Crabbers. He has played fine defensive football here in the first half. So the Crabbers have to call a timeout and attend to young Michael Fenner.
Well, while we're looking at young Mr. Fenner, we watched his pass completion. Diane Limerick, the trainer for the Hampton Crabbers, was very fortunate, I think, in my estimation, has been able to go to Barcelona this summer. She was one of the trainers for the U.S. Olympic team, the swimming team. They asked for her, and there you can see her right there helping young Mr. Fenner up. So let's do it quick.
All right, we'll return to Darling Stadium after a brief timeout. 2nd down and 11 as Fenner comes off the field under his own steam. Oh, a fine defensive stop in the backfield by the Hampton Crabbers, number 55, Sean Kemmer, as he met the running back at the line of scrimmage. In fact, threw him for a slight loss. So the Hampton defense is rising to the top again, as so many times in the past it has.
Well, that's coming from Kemmer is coming from the linebacker spot on that side, and evidently the Crabbers are seeing something defensively where they can shoot the gap and get in the backfield and disrupt the timing and the running of this President's team.
And this one looks like it might have been picked off. Let's see who they give the ball to.
Well, they usually will go with the offensive man, so let's see.
Now let's see the call. It looked to me like the Crabber defender made the grab. This will be an interesting call. A big call. It's either first down at the Hampton 11 for Wilson or first down at the Hampton 11.
We have a simultaneous catch. The ball belongs to the offense.
All right, you heard Kenny Self. A simultaneous catch, and the ball belongs to the offense. Not a happy crowd on this side of the field. Watch Sparrow, good time, throws long. It looked to me all the way that Hampton defender had the ball.
Well, they both had their hands on it, and that was the call. Not that I agree with, or the people on this side sure don't agree with it.
Carlos Johnson certainly doesn't agree with it. He was number 40, the junior who made the grab along with the offensive player. But the call is if both players simultaneously catch it, it belongs to the offense. And,
Mike Smith is at it. Mike is not happy at all.
Well, you wouldn't expect him to be on that call. They marked the ball just shy of the Hampton 12. Get a chance to watch it again. The replay really isn't going to give us any, conclusive change of that call, I don't think. You'll see both players go up for the ball simultaneously, and both players, it looks to me like Johnson had the ball first from my angle, but then I also have a bias that's built into
just
this.
Just a bit.
But tough call to me. Mike Smith is furious, to say the least, and he will not get any satisfaction from this call.
He's not happy with the official on this side who made the call, number 44, and I'm not sure who that is, but he definitely is not happy.
Well, the Presidents with a first down at the Hampton 12. 3:23 remaining in the first half. Plenty of time for the Presidents. Sparrow straight back, has time, throws, bad pass. The intended receiver was Strother, who has come back in after being shaken up earlier. But that pass was very underthrown and very poorly thrown by Sparrow. I have to tell you, one half does not a season make or a career make, but he doesn't look anything like his brother.
Not at this point. And of course, in all fairness to young Darren Sparrow, he was slightly injured in a game or scrimmage or something early in the week. So
I think he's had a much better day than, of course, he's got a lot of Hampton red, white, and blue, or red and white at least, looking at him, and he throws in the end zone. It's a touchdown.
And that was not good job by young Mr. Ford. You got to play the defense. You got to play the man, not the ball. He let the ball get over his head. Touchdown.
So as I criticize Mr. Sparrow, he throws a beautiful pass in the end zone. A perfect throw for the touchdown to number 48. I believe that was 40. Let me double check my.
The Presidents are going for a 2-point conversion. They do not have a very good kicker.
And he did not get in. So the extra point try is no good, as Myron Newsom is there to emphatically deny the 2-point conversion. Here's the touchdown pass now. Sparrow, and I eat my words, was not having a good first half. But watch him here. You'll see at the top of your screen, number 42, Morris, just drifts into the end zone. Ford is there, but Morris makes a perfect catch in the corner of the end zone for the touchdown.
In all fairness to Walter Ford, his ball looked like it was going to be short, and it wasn't, and it went over his head. But the Crabbers still maintain the lead, 7-6, on the strength of their point after.
56-yard drive on 7 plays. It took 2:45 for the Presidents to score. The big play, of course, the simultaneous catch as ruled on the field. And then 2 plays later, Sparrow completes the pass in the corner of the end zone to make it a 7-6 game. As close as you might have expected these two teams to play. Hampton ranked by USA Today as number 12 in the nation. And of course, the Wilson Presidents, the defending state Division V champions. 3:12 remaining in the first half. The Presidents will kick off.
There isn't but 10 men on the field for the Presidents. Here comes number 11. Well, are they going to kick it deep? Are they going to pooch it up in the air, or are they going to try an onside?
Well, they do. I don't know what that is. The ball is loose, and it's picked up Desmond Wilson out to the 38-yard line for Hampton.
That's one of the hardest kicks to receive because of the way the football bounces is so erratic. It can cost a turnover very, very quick.
So Hampton now from their 38-yard line, first down. Here's a replay of the kickoff, and that ball is a squibber all the way down the field. It's just bouncing left, right, and center, and the Crabbers very anxious to control that ball.
Well, it went 10 yards, anybody's ball.
Oh, yeah, no question about that. As you saw Ellison trying to cover the ball, and now on the live action, you see Myron Newsom picking up close to 2. Ball will be just short of the 40-yard line. Let's call it a pickup of 2. Second down at about 8. So a controversial call, to say the least. The Hampton fans and Mike Smith in particular not agreeing with the officials' call on the pass completion that set up the touchdown. Clock running with 2:17 as Randall comes to the near side. He just missed a 6-point catch a while ago. Dragged down from behind is Walter Ford, number 2 for the Crabbers.
And that was number 45 for the Presidents. That's the linebacker LaSalle Boone.
Ball is marked at the 43-yard line. Lugerman with some running room across the 45 to about the 46. It'll bring up a 4th down and short for the Crabbers. Clock continues to move.
Number 23, Andre Copeland for the Wilson Presidents got into the backfield that time, just ignored Lugerman and went after the deep men, the pitch men, and he had nobody to pitch the ball to.
Wilson slow in getting a full complement on the field. They finally do so. Redford gets the kick away, the left-footed kicker, back to the 20-yard line. And Newsom is there to make the jersey tackle for the Hampton Crabbers. Dontre Smith was the return man for Wilson. And now with 43 seconds remaining in the first half, they will set up inside their 20 at about the 18-yard line. Clock has started. The Presidents have no inclination to stop it at this point. We remind you that, about the halftime program provided by the always entertaining Hampton High School Marching Band will be seen at the conclusion of this game. So please stay tuned for that coming up after this game is over. A late fumble, but I believe the whistle had blown, and that's exactly what the call will be. But please stay tuned at the conclusion of the game to watch for the halftime program featuring the Hampton High School Marching Band. A penalty flag down. Let's see what Kenny Self and his crew will call against whichever team.
Well, it looks like he's talking to the Crabbers, so it's got to be against the Presidents. And that looks like half the distance. Illegal.
First down.
Illegal push in the back, I think it was. He's got the clock turned around. He's turned it off to. Well, maybe we'll get some little conversation.
Got his mic turned on when he thought it was off. Long count, 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2. They may not get this play off, and that might be their intent. And time, well, I'm waiting for a signal of the end of the first half. The clock shows no time remaining. And that is your first half from Darling Stadium, I think. I still haven't seen the official indication. And let's hold everything here. There still is not, you know, the referee will, they're calling the players back on the field. They've got to run a play after a penalty flag. Is that how? Now, this is real interesting here.
Yeah,
the Crabbers haven't got a compliment on the field. They were almost ready to give the ball to Wilson to snap with 3 Crabbers on defense. That would have been interesting.
Hampton's going to take a timeout, which is a smart move.
Well, that was real interesting. Now the clock ran down to the 000s on the scoreboard, and everybody was waiting for the official to jump in and raise the ball over his head as he normally would do to indicate the end of the first half and the end of the game.
But you can't,
and no one did that.
You can't stop the game or the end of a half on a penalty. You got to have a play.
Then why do they start the clock?
That I don't know. You need to talk to the clock operator.
I'm not saying they're incorrect in doing so, but if you have to have a play, then why does the clock start? Since Hampton accepted the penalty, Wilson had an untimed down and therefore had to run a play before the half concludes. Even though the clock started, it was not the official time. Now, interestingly, all they do is cop to their knee and kind of a bizarre conclusion to the first half.
What a weird way to end the first half.
Well, that's all that Wilson wanted to do to begin with, was to run the timeout. So they did so officially, and that concludes the first half. The score after 24 minutes of action here from Darling Stadium, the Hampton Crabbers 7, the Wilson Presidents 6. Will return with third period action after a brief timeout.
Alternative viewing from WHCS TV5.
There you see the Hampton Crabbers coming back on the field as we are getting set for the third quarter of action here at Darling Stadium. The Hampton Crabbers leading at halftime 7-6. The statistics at halftime are just about as close as the score would indicate. Total net yards for these two teams, 70 for the Wilson Presidents, 74 for the Hampton Crabbers. Crabbers with 4 first downs, the Presidents with 5. 3 out of 6 passing for Hampton, 1 out of 5 for Sparrow, but that can't be right because he completed
third down efficiency.
Oh, third down efficiency. I'm sorry, I thought it was pass completions. Okay, total yards 74 and 70. There you see the total rushing yards, very one-sided for Hampton, 69-9, while on the other side of the coin, the passing yardage just 5 for Hampton and 61 for the Presidents. And the time of possession very lopsided in Hampton's favor. But if you recall, Wilson struck very quickly that simultaneous catch, which will be debated for many days and weeks beyond this game, I'm sure. And of course, that toss into the corner of the end zone for the touchdown, the Presidents scoring quite quickly. Leading rusher was Ford, 4 carries on 35 yards, averaged a little more than 8.5 yards per carry in the first half. And we've got a few other individual statistics for you. Ford, as we mentioned, 35 yards. Myron Newsom, 22 yards on 8 carries. Brian Milo carried 6 times for 18. Shelley Ellison, only 1 carry and no yardage gain. And Logeman was carried the ball twice for a total loss of 6 yards as he gained 3 and lost 9. On the other side for the Presidents, Saunders had 3 carries for 11 yards. DeLoach 6 carries for 3 yards, holding the big running back to just a total of 3 yards at halftime. And Sparrow a -5 after having been sacked. Again, we thank Gary Moore for those most accurate statistics, and the second half is underway This is fielded inside the 15-yard line by DeLoach. And the Crabbers bring him down at about the 30-yard line. So the Presidents will have the ball to start the second half. Again, 12-minute quarters in high school football. I'm Tim Cole along with Bob Hintz. We welcome you to this Division V battle between the defending state champion Wilson Presidents and their Eastern Regional Division VI runner-ups, the Hampton Crabbers from last season. Sparrow wants to pass. He's got a man open, but throws behind him as racing down the right side of the field was Dennis Strother, and Sparrow's pass was short and behind him.
Well, he was wide open, as you said. There was no defensive man close to him. I don't know if maybe just a broken assignment or a quick play. Nobody picked up the wide out on that side, but did not come out. You got to have an accurate pass on that kind of a play.
Second down for the Presidents. Sparrow rushed and gets the pass away. A one-hopper to the same intended receiver, number 24, Strother. And that one goes incomplete again. Third down and 10 for the Presidents.
Well, that was Myron Newsom, number 5, and number 70 for the Crabbers, who is Reuben Volt, who we have called his name more than once this evening, put a lot of pressure on. Sparrow couldn't step and follow through on the play. That's why the ball ended up taking a short hop.
Sparrow hit hard as he released the ball, and remember, he was injured last week in a scrimmage game for these Presidents. Again, the left-handed quarterback looks, throws, batted in the air, almost intercepted by the Crabbers. Coming over and almost getting the grab was Brian Milo, but he couldn't quite get to it.
Well, number 55, Sean Kimmer, was the young man who got his hand on the ball and knocked it up in the air. If you look at what the Crabbers may have to face against the Wilson Presidents, they're coming out 3 downs, 3 passes. They looked at the statistics too and saw that they didn't pick up but 9 yards on the ground, and decided they're going to put the ball in the air.
The Presidents get a good snap from center on the punt this time. Beavers hits it, and it's fielded and taken by Milo to the Wilson 34-yard line. So the Crabbers will have fine field position. As Beaver got the kick away, first time tonight that the Presidents have gotten a good snap from center. But a very gutsy return, I should quickly add.
Well, the ball is spotted at the 44, Tim. You gave him 10 more yards, but I'm sure he'll take it.
Trying to move it down the field.
He will take it.
So John Logeman, the quarterback for the Hampton Crabbers, as he has been all night long, he is enjoying his first starting role. This is Shelly Ellison, and Ellison close to a first down.
Big, strong Shelly Ellison. Tim, that young man
he's a horse. 6'2",
230.
Yeah.
Woo.
And he hasn't missed any meals this summer.
I tell you what, he probably hasn't got much body fat. We got an injured player on the field, number 41 for the Presidents. That's Dante Shepard. He's the one that had to stop Shelly. Shelly was running over him.
It was, in fact, enough for a first down. That was a 10-yard gain by Ellison. So the Wilson Presidents get the injured player off the field. We're set to go. Crabbers now at the 34. I knew they were going to be at the 34. I just was one play ahead of myself. Same play, good success again. Shelly Ellison across the 30 to about the 28.
Well, you can see he is really popped. He's hitting that hole with a lot of steam. He's got his knees high. He's going to be hard to stop at the line of scrimmage, and he is really fired up. I don't know what Coach Smith said in the locker room, but they made some adjustments. But young Shelly Ellison has come out and is, as a fullback, is really popping the line of scrimmage. Here he goes again, 3 straight carries.
If it's working, why not?
Yes.
And Ellison picks up another first down. So 3 consecutive carries for Shelly. And another Hampton first down. This one marked at the the 23-yard line. A little more than 10 minutes to go in the third quarter. This time it's Myron Newsom.
Newsom, yeah, number 5.
The Crabbers Crabbers had the edge on the ground, and they have shown why as they've come out here in the third quarter and just stuffed the ball right down the President's throats here on 4 consecutive plays.
Not to take anything away from the Presidents, but they had 7 men on the line of scrimmage that time, and Hampton just blew them off the line of scrimmage. You can see they're much more aggressive and are controlling that line of scrimmage. The Crabbers I'm talking about. Boom.
Another first down, this one marked at the 13. Crabbers reeling off big chunks of yardage, and again, Ellison inside the 10 to about the 9.
And it's working off that right side. I'm going to pick up the blocking linemen on that side. They're doing a great job.
Your offensive line, of course, for the Crabbers, the center is Tim Carey.
Well, that's number 70 and 74 on that right side.
Well, that would be Volk.
And Tucker.
Second down and 7 after the 3-yard gain. This is Newsom down close to the 5-yard line.
Well, he's going right over Tucker and Volk. Doing a great job.
Again, we remind you this game recorded on the 3rd of September, 1992, a Thursday night, rather warm night. A couple of our crew sitting up here wiping the perspiration from their brow. So you might well expect these young men in full uniform could be feeling some of that heat as well. Crabbers right now, and then Lugeman calls a timeout, looked at the defense and saw something he didn't like.
No, he went up there and tried to draw him offside, which is not a bad call. Half the distance to the goal line, you're going to get a 1st and goal. Got a 3rd and short, but that was a nice call by Mike Smith. Yeah, you know, you work it. If it works, fine. If you don't, you call timeout and you talk about it.
So the clock stops with 8:52 remaining. It gives me another opportunity to remind you that coming up here on Channel 5, we'll have Coping with Unemployment on Hampton City Schools Cable Channel 5. You can find out what resources you can use to get started again. Get guidance from local representatives from the Virginia Employment Commission, the Hampton City Schools, the United Way, Hampton Social Services, and Thomas Nelson Community College during the special cablecast on Hampton City Schools Cable Channel 5. Those times for the first airing will be Friday the 11th of September at 9, Saturday the 12th of September at 6, and again Sunday the 13th of September at 9 p.m. right here on Channel 5. A very informative and helpful program. Hope you'll take the time to watch that program starting the 11th of September at 9 and again the 13th at 9, and then on Saturday the 12th at 6 p.m. here on Channel 5.
And while we still got just a second, we will pick a Sports Place DC Engraving Player of the Game. We will give them a plaque and a shirt, and we will get back with that a little later on in the telecast.
3rd down and about 3, and this is
touchdown.
Milo for the touchdown.
Went over the left side. He'd gone over the right every time until that time, Tim, and then went to the left side and picked up the touchdown. That's taking a ball and driving it down. They're right down the neck of the Presidents, all on the ground, nothing in the air. Power football.
7 plays, 2 minutes and 36 seconds, 44 yards. The extra point is up and good. So the Crabbers really did pound the ball down the field. They just never took a step backwards. They just picked up huge chunks of yardage on most carries, 8, 10, 12 yards at a pop, and capped it with a 5-yard touchdown run by Brian Milo. And now Newsom with a 5-yarder in the first quarter, and Milo here in the third with 8:48 remaining, and the Crabbers stretch that lead back out to 8 points. Get a chance to watch the replay of the touchdown. You'll see Brian Milo, just a power move, just right up the middle. Good interior line blocking by the Crabbers, and Milo for the carry and the touchdown. Crabbers quoted in the paper as being very determined to make sure they regain their share, if not sole possession, of the Peninsula District title this year. New man kicking off, that's number 8, Jerry Lawton, who we thought we'd see earlier. And he is out there now. The return is back to the 33-yard line for the Wilson Presidents. There you see on your screen the Wilson Presidents. Joe Ledisick, first-year coach at Wilson High School, replacing Darnell Moore, who moved on to Norfolk State to be the quarterback coach and follow his.
Well, Tim, Mike Smith in preseason got these young men up at 6 a.m. in the morning to practice, and that really will prove that you're going to have some dedicated young men to be up at that time and be practicing. And then last week, as we watched the run by the president, he had them on the field almost 8 hours, 4 in the morning, 4 in the afternoon, making sure they were fine-tuned. And you talk about seriousness over at Crabberland. These young athletes are very serious about Hampton football. They want the district title back again.
It was my understanding that most of these young men were up at 6 a.m. on their own volition.
Yes.
That they wanted to be out there, that they were determined to regain that Peninsula District title. Of course, a lot of teams on the Peninsula District will try and have something to say about that. As you see, the defense for the Crabbers stiffening here, brings up 3rd down and about 6 or 7 for the Presidents. But yeah, the Crabbers have dedicated themselves to doing it. They were ranked #1 in the state and rolling last year when they ran into the Bethel Bruins. Of course, the Bruins had a great season and made it even greater when they beat their arch rival, the Hampton Crabbers. But the Crabbers have dedicated themselves to regaining that stature. Certainly a 10-2 season is nothing to be upset or disappointed at, but they are, when you want to win it all, nothing less is satisfying.
That's correct. We'll probably see a pass this time by Mr. Sparrow.
Sparrow wants to throw, gets it away, completes the pass. He could go all the way. And he does. No flags are down.
Damn, that was just a crossing pattern. He had a lot of time to throw that ball, picked up the man, I believe it was number 24 for the Presidents. That's
Strother.
Strother, yeah, and he just did a crossing pattern. He went down about 10 yards, crossed the middle, and was wide open, caught the ball, and just outran everybody.
A 62-yard pass and catch for the touchdown. And just like that, the Wilson Presidents are back in the ball game, and they will go for 2. This would give them the tie. And they will not get it this time either, as again, Mr. Volk is there to stop 44 Quinton Saunders dead in his tracks. But the Presidents strike with great lightning. They showed why they are the reigning champions.
Well, Tim, they can't run the ball against this Hampton Crabbers, so they're going to put it in the air. As we saw the first series of downs they came out, they passed the first 3 times as we watched this pass play that scored the touchdown.
Here it is.
This time they can't run the ball on 2 downs. They pass on 3rd, and their man just went across. He was getting pressure, but he had enough time to pick up the receiver, Strother.
One man to beat, and Strother had the angle. And unfortunately for the Crabbers, Carlos Johnson could not get him before he's in the end zone. So the score now is Hampton 14, Wilson 12. And it's the kind of game you might have expected. You've got 2 teams that just aren't going to lay down and give up.
Young Mr. Sparrow didn't impress you at the beginning of the game, but he has made a couple of great passes.
Well, he was slow starting, that's all. And as I said, I prefaced my statement by the fact that 1 half does not a season or a career make, but to that point he hadn't shown me a lot, but he certainly has since then. A relatively short kick on a 1-hop taken by Wilson. And Wilson, Desmond Wilson, to about the 33-yard line. .646 remaining in the 3rd period. The Hampton Crabbers leading by 2. The difference in the ball game has been the extra points. Crabbers converted both. Wilson has missed both. Logoman with Newsom and Ellison in the backfield. This is Myron Newsom, and Newsom stacked up after a short game. So the Presidents, of course, realize they must stop the Hampton running game if they are going to win this game.
Well, that's true, because of the running game will keep the ball on your side. We got number 78, Mark Branham, in at the right tackle position on this series.
Well, he has since, as you said, that come out. And Newsom comes out as well. He is replaced by Milo in the backfield. So it's Ellison and Milo in the backfield. The wide receivers are Wilson and Randall. Logoman wants to pass, has time, and throws well over the head of Randall. Randall had contact with number 23, Andre Copeland, but the ball was not catchable, and therefore no penalty.
That ball just sailed out of John's hand. It didn't stay down.
Got a Wilson President shaken up on the play. It would appear to be number 55, Michael Williams, a junior guard, and he is coming up lame. They're going to help him off the field. In the meantime, with the injury timeout on the field, Mike Smith has called his team, as you see on your screen, over to the near sideline to give them a discussion. I like that idea of the ability to do a lot of coaching in high school.
Absolutely. I mean, it's to your advantage, so you take advantage of it.
You never see in college, or certainly not in pros, the coaches coming out on the field. But I like this aspect of it for high school. These young men are learning the game. Whether you're a freshman or a senior, you can always learn more.
Well, the coach has got more experience than anybody else, so you want to listen to him.
Marking at the 35-yard line, a 1-yard gain on the last play. Third and 9 for the Crabbers. Logoman wants to throw to Randall. Randall is knocked down, and the ball is intercepted, but it's going to come back, I do believe. It's being brought back, and a touchdown will be scored. Now, whether or not it will stand.
We got another flag back down here, but the first flag was definitely interference.
We got a couple of penalties, of course. We'll have to wait and see how they sort this one out. We've already had one highly controversial call that ultimately led to a President's touchdown. Here's the replay. Let's see if we can figure out what might have happened. The penalty is going to be thrown in the area where the ball was being attempted to be received by Randall, Steve Randall. You see the ball out of your picture. You see the tail end of that play with Randall falling down. Now, let's listen to Kenny Self. We've got pass interference, and we've got clipping on the run back against Wilson as well. So the Crabbers will get a big break here.
Yes, they will. Give them a first down.
And again, normally we'd be able to hear Kenny Self, but I think he's got his mic turned off when he doesn't think so and does when he doesn't. So the penalty will be assessed from the line of scrimmage, I believe. Let's listen up.
It's going to be first down, Hampton. Pass interference on the defense prior to the catch. Also clipping on defense during the run back. The pass interference penalty is accepted. It's first and 10.
So you heard Kenny Self, and again, we appreciate the referee and his crew allowing us to, there we see it. Hi, Mom. How you doing, Mom?
Yeah, that's that shiny head over here. Can we get a little powder on that makeup man?
We don't have enough time.
Okay, enough time or enough powder?
Enough powder, either one. So the ball is marked right at midfield, and the Crabbers, who would have found themselves trailing had that play stood. Of course, there was a clip on the run back, so the touchdown never would have counted, even if there hadn't been interference. But of course there was, so all of that is irrelevant. The Crabbers will have a first down. And now we've got stoppage of play. What's the problem?
I don't know.
We're ready to go now. Draw play. Walter Ford has some running room. Left side. Cuts back inside the 35-yard line.
Whoa. That was a play they called earlier that didn't work. but the timing was much better that time, and Walter Ford is really a scat back. Tim, he's 5'9", 160, just a junior, but has got a lot of speed.
First down for Hampton at the 32-yard line of Wilson. Little more than 5 minutes remaining here in the third quarter. It's 14-12 in favor of Hampton. Myron Newsom stacked up after a short game. This battle has been one a lot of fans on both sides of the water have been looking for a long time, but because Wilson was in Division 5 and did not play Hampton during the regular season, and then they could not meet in postseason play either because of the different divisions within the AAA football. Now, of course, Hampton, as we mentioned earlier in our cablecast, has been repositioned into Division 5, as have all City of Hampton schools. And Wilson, of course, remains in Division 5, so these two teams could be meeting later on in the season with playoff stakes involved. Brian Milo across the 25-yard line, close to a first down.
That was a great job by Logerman to fake the inside handoff and pitch to to Milo, and nobody was on the pitch man that time, and Milo picked up about 9 yards. Oh, I'm sorry, there was a couple yards picked up before, so it was a good 6-7 yard pickup.
Brings up a third down and, well, a long yard, almost 2. There you see the marker across the field. You see where the ball is.
And look at that camera work.
Quick snap and a struggle to get to the first down. A fine second effort by Myron Newsom, and I believe he did. Yes, he did. He got the first down.
Well, and he was hit and drug a couple of players with him.
Great leg strength from Newsom at 6 foot, 205 pounds. They marked the ball at the 21-yard line of Wilson. Logerman looking over to the sidelines for the signal. He gets it, sends Wilson wide to the left, Randall wide to the right. Ellison and Newsom are in the backfield. This is Ellison, and Ellison, as he did on a previous position near this area, just drives off tackle and picks up about 5 yards. A little more than 5.
And Tim, I can't talk enough about Reuben Volk, number 70, and Lloyd Tucker, number 74, the guard and tackle on that right side. They're just doing an excellent job along with the end on that side. And number 21 for the Crabbers comes limping out. That's Steve Randall, split end, transferred in. He's a senior, but he may have a cramp, or I hope it's just a minor thing. As you can see there with Diane Limerick.
Ford checks in to replace him. Walker Ford wide to the left, Wilson wide to the right. It's up the middle for Newsom, and Newsom is down in the area of the 10 or 11-yard line. So the Crabbers continue to bang the ball up the middle and off tackle. Thrown rather sparingly. When your running attack is working, why throw it?
There you go.
Going to measure for the first down. It's that close. A little more than 2.5 minutes to go in the third. Of course, the advantage of running the ball is you eat the clock up as well. Crabbers holding on to a 2-point lead. Stretch the chains, and I believe it is a first down.
Yeah, it's just made it. Whoa, legal, I haven't lost it even with your glasses. Well, you're looking over your glasses.
Well, I can't see anything without my glasses up close.
Oh, eagle eye.
The old sign of old age. Turned 40 a little earlier this month.
Is that right? 40
First down, the ball just outside the 10-yard line. This is Ellison. Ellison struggles to the 5. Crabbers truly can get a first down without scoring, but it would be difficult.
Well, I don't be amiss not mentioning the tackle and guard on the left side. That's Jones, number 66, and number 75 over on that side. Tyrone Tynes are also doing a great job, as the center, Timothy Gary. Those 5 young men are doing a great job opening up holes
You know, your chart did not initially show Volk as being a starting.
Well, he wasn't. He
lineman.
was a defensive starter, but he is doing a great job in there.
Boy, he is.
Offensively.
This is Newsom down close to pay dirt. He is going to be short of the goal line.
But May picked up the first down that you were talking about.
It is a possibility. Have to check and see where they mark the football.
Well, they're going to bring it in for okay, Eagle Eye, you're on the spot.
Well, let's see here, Grandpa. I think they missed it by about an inch. I think he's just a little short of the first down.
About 4 inches.
Well, short nonetheless. It's hard to get one past me, you know. So the Crabbers, with 1:41 left in the third, have the ball just shy of the first down and equally close to the goal line. With that big running back stable of Shelly Ellison or Myra Newsom, one of those two horses can punch it in with no problem from here, as rules would be. I want to talk prematurely or out of school, but both of those guys have been unstoppable in short yardage situations.
And that's a touchdown for Ellison.
So Ellison, with 1:38 remaining in the third, makes it 20-12 in favor of Hampton. 1 yard out. Crabbers took 5 minutes and 14 seconds to go 11 plays and 67 yards. Flags are down before the extra point try.
Encroachment again.
So now will the Crabbers go for 2 with that half the distance to the goal line? It marks the ball 1.5 yards from the end zone. I believe we'll still see the extra point kick.
Dead ball foul. Encroachment. Defense to the try.
So Brabham will still try the extra point from the hold of Michael Blunt, a freshman quarterback. Kick is up. It's long enough, and it is good. So the Crabbers stretch that lead back out again. Now they're up by 9. And it has been an offensive explosion here of sorts in the third quarter. Crabbers have scored twice, while Wilson has scored the one long touchdown, a 62-yard pass. Get a chance to watch the replay. You just see simple up-the-middle power running.
And that 5 men that I talked about on that line of scrimmage, the tackles, the guard, and the center are controlling that line of scrimmage, and that's why the Hampton running game is working so well. They've got a great bunch of runners, not just 1 or 2, but they've got a lot of good runners. But the runners will be the first to tell you that if I don't get any good blocks at the line of scrimmage, it's going to be tough all night long.
Lawton will kick it. A low kick, a line drive taken at the 35-yard line, and then losing his footing was number 80, Cliff Carden, for the Presidents. There you see Danny Mitchell right in the left of your screen and the middle of your screen now. Danny and I were talking before the game started. Been lifting those weights a little bit. Mr. Danny Mitchell there has put on a little upper body bulk. Said a lot of the team has been lifting all summer long to build up strength.
All 4 of the Hampton schools had a great weight program off season this year. Started in December for the athletes that didn't play anything else.
Sparrow chased by Newsom, and he throws it away. A flag will be thrown. It'll be intentional grounding, I'm sure.
And it will be a loss of down as well as loss of yardage.
That was a freshman mistake by the senior to throw that ball. You know, when you're back that way, you just eat it. But Sparrow chose to try and get rid of the ball. We'll see the replay here. I think we'll listen to Kenny Self.
Watch Newsom come through.
Intentional grounding on the offense. Loss of down.
Just an obvious call, and Sparrow not only will see his team penalized, but then they'll lose the down as well.
It's a 5-yard penalty from the spot plus a loss of down, so you end up not only losing the down, which you would have lost anyway, but 5 more yards, so you got a long way to go.
Second down now and 26 for the Presidents. Myron Newsom with the sack on that play. And again,
Newsom again.
Newsom over there along with number 70, Ruben Volk.
Well, if you think they're going to run and you crash that linebacker, as the Crabbers are doing, Myron Newsom is a definite thorn in the side of Darren Sparrow. Watch this.
Sparrow didn't even have a chance to ground the ball that time.
Not that time. So now we got what, Tim? Third and a mile. Huh?
Third and 36 or something of that nature. Wilson needs to regroup here. You see Mike Smith, he loves this part of it. 2 wide receivers on the far side, and now they're going to eat 5 more yards. Sparrow is furious. Couldn't get his field, getting his team lined up right.
But I tell you, Tim, it's not so much as they're not doing what they're supposed to as the Crabbers are doing things.
Offense.
They got them shook up. They're not thinking straight. That's why you get a delay of game in this situation. Really hurts them. 41, 3rd and 41. This may not be a bad place for a draw or a screen.
Quick pass is incomplete as the intended receiver was Quentin Morris, trying to isolate the wide receiver and hopefully spring him, as they were successful in doing so earlier, but it didn't work at all this time. And now the Presidents with the shadow of the goalposts on their back.
And this is something that is, I'm sure, caught the coaches' hearts to jump a couple times. In the first half, there were a couple of bad snaps from the center. And you can't afford one here, but the punts have been very, very short regardless.
Chris Beavers is the deep punt formation man for Wilson and doesn't have 11 players. It's not bad enough. They can't get enough guys on the team. Now they're still running all over the place. Just get it away in time. And it's a very poor kick. The ball is going to be fielded at the 22-yard line and taken out of bounds by number 10. That is...
we got a flag.
Or 40, rather.
A late flag that came in after the tackle.
That was Carlos Johnson, number 40, who fielded the ball. Now we've got an injured player on the sidelines here. Wilson President is down and injured. Here's the replay.
And the kicker had to move over.
Here you see Johnson. Carlos Johnson will field the ball. Let's see if we can pick up and see what happened to the player. Well, he just got hurt on his own because...
But a flag came in after all that happened, so I don't know.
Well, we'll let Kenny Self tell us.
And it's against the Crabbers, it looks like.
That's a big one.
We got a clip.
Clipping during the run back on the offense.
All right, so they'll mark it off against the Crabbers. The young man who was shaken up on the play is the punter, Chris Beavers. And he is still on the sidelines, out of bounds, so they'll be able to continue play. But he is being attended to by Diane Limerick and others as he was shaken up. And now gets to his feet and will come off all right, so we're happy to see that.
Right, and while he's running off the field, let's again give credit. He has been a marked man back there trying to punt tonight. Done a great job getting the ball off.
Punting has been an experience for the Wilson Presidents.
It's been an experience.
All right, they
got that right.
Mark it at the 26-yard line. So the Crabbers with the good run back by Johnson, some of that wiped out by the clipping call, but the Crabbers nonetheless have it in great field position. This is Logeman on the toss, and he gives to Ford, and Ford is dragged out of bounds close to the 20-yard line. He was tackled there by Michael Williams, number 55, among others. They mark it right on the 20. Sorry, Bob.
Well, I thought he ran out of bounds. He started the clock, and then he stopped it because that's the end of the third quarter. Wow, we got a minute. Let me go through this real quick. You and I, along with Scotty and Dr. Sam and whoever, will help pick the Sports Place DC engraving player of the game. The player of the game will receive a shirt and a plaque for tonight's game, thanks to the Sports Place at Hampton Woods Plaza. Dave Chubb, the proprietor over there, and DC Engraving at Taft Square, located on Route 17. In Yorktown, Dave Buckwalder is the young man there. We do appreciate the efforts to help us recognize one of the players of this Hampton Woodrow Wilson contest tonight. It's going to be a tough job to pick the player of the game.
Yeah, it is. 171 yards through 3 quarters for the Crabbers on the ground. 59 yards for Ford, 50 for Newsom, 39 for Ellison, and 29 for Milo. So that very strong running attack for the Crabbers has been very much in evidence in the first 3 quarters of this game. Again, a quick reminder about that program note here on Channel 5 called Life After the Layoff. There is life after unemployment. Tune in to a special program that will provide the information needed to get back on the right track. Local representatives from the Virginia Employment Commission, the Hampton City Schools, the United Way, Hampton Social Services, and Thomas Nelson Community College's Center for Business and Community Services will tell you how their services can be used in a time of need right here on Channel 5, September 11th and 13th at 9 and September 12th at 6 p.m. on Channel 5. Please make a note to watch. Fourth quarter getting set to get underway. The Hampton Crabbers leading 21-12. 12 minutes of action remaining. This is straight up the middle. Shelly Ellison inside the 15-yard line. And he has enough for another Hampton first down. Through 3 quarters, the Crabbers with 13 first downs to just 6 for the Presidents. Good tackle by Strother on the ball carrier, Brian Milo.
Well, Milo was hit a couple of times, broke the tackle, and before he could take another step, Strother put a nice shoulder into him.
So it's second down and 10, as after all of that action, Milo got back to the line of scrimmage. Ball just inside the Wilson 15. They trail by 9. A battle of Eastern Regional Titans. This is Myron Newsom, who carries for a couple. Newsom's going to sleep well tonight. He's played a lot of time on both offense and defense. I don't think he's missed a snap of the ball, or very few at least.
Well, the plan was to rest him on defense. And I tell you, he has done such a great job. He has played, just like you said, just about every snap of the ball on either side.
Let me tell you something. Nothing will get you more rested than a couple of sacks of the quarterback.
You got that right.
That'll get you so pumped up you couldn't take a rest.
Tell me about this life after the layoff here.
Yeah, we've got another injured player for the Wilson Presidents being attended to. I can't see his number. You see him there on your screen.
I'll pick his number up while you read.
All right, but again, I just want to remind the folks that we want you to watch Hampton City Schools Cable Channel 5 for Coping with Unemployment, a special cable cast that will feature local representatives of the VEC, the Hampton City Schools, the Hampton Social Services, United Way, and the Thomas Nelson Community College, who will help tell how to use their organization's resources and services should you become unemployed. That program will air September the 11th at 9 and the 13th at 9, and then on Saturday the 12th at 6 p.m. right here on Channel 5. Please make a note to watch that program.
Number 85, Tim. pick him up. You got your
Kevin
eyes
Cross.
on. Okay.
Kevin, yeah, between you and me, we got about 3 pair of glasses.
Yeah, and still having trouble seeing. It's good to see him walk off the field, though, on his own power, so you know it's not a serious injury.
Okay, the Crabbers trotting back on the field as they had come to the near sidelines during that timeout. Ball is marked for play. They need to get up there and snap the ball, and they will. Loggeman wants to throw, throws in the corner, and a flag goes down at the line of scrimmage. Ball was incomplete in the end zone, but we do have a flag.
We may have holding on the Crabbers. Let's see what the preliminary signal is. Yes, illegal use of hand or something. You might be taking that penalty if you're the Presidents to make sure the Crabbers are not in field goal range.
Or you might decline it because it would bring up a 4th down. So.
Well, but then you would be kicking about a 37, so you take him out.
Illegal use of hands on the offense. The penalty is declined. It's 4th down.
Okay, they're going to make the Crabbers either go for it or go for the the 3-pointer. Let's see what happens.
Loggeman looks over to the sidelines. The Crabbers are slow.
They're going to call timeout.
Yeah, they're going to have to call timeout. All right, we'll return to Darling Stadium. A score with 10:37 remaining in the 4th quarter. The Hampton Crabbers 21, the Wilson Presidents 12. We'll return right after this brief timeout. So the Crabbers looking at a 4th down and 8. The ball is on the 13-yard line. I do not see any indication that they're going to try a field goal.
It will be about a 30-yarder because you figure about 7 yards back from the line of scrimmage would put it at the 20 with 10 yards in the end zone. Their extra point man has been very accurate but not exceedingly long. So I assume they're going to go for it, and that's exactly what Mike Smith has done. He's gone in, talked to him, called a play, and said, okay, this is what we want, this is execution we want.
Loggeman throws. Oh, it's just off the hands of Walter Ford. He and Desmond Wilson were right in the same zone, and Walter Ford had a great opportunity to catch the ball, but just couldn't hold on to it.
I was not sure which man the ball was intended for.
It would be hard to believe that they really intended for both men to be in that same identical spot because they truly were right on top of each other. But a good pass from Loggeman. Excuse me, Logeman. I've been telling them all night that it's Logeman, and I mispronounce it myself.
Okay, then you're showing me you're human, huh?
Here's the replay. Good protection. Again, Newsom blocking well. Here's the pass, and here's Ford, and he just couldn't hold on to it.
Yeah, that ball was intended for Ford.
Back to the live action. Deloche gets the call, and a late flag as he is hit well out of bounds, and a roughing penalty will be forthcoming against Hampton. If you're Mike Smith, that'll make your hair go gray because you just don't want to give Wilson anything. They've already shown that they're explosive. They've got a 62-yard touchdown pass that they recorded earlier. There you saw unnecessary roughness against the Crabbers. Be aggressive, be tough, but don't make silly penalties.
The silly mistakes hurt you more than anything else.
Going to mark it off from the point of the infraction, I would assume, which the one official on the sidelines is saying that's where it was.
We got a dead ball foul, personal foul against the defense. It'll be 1st down.
The 32-yard line is where they've marked it. 10:25 left in the 4th quarter. Crabbers leading 21-12. Tim Cole and Bob Hintz, the first of 7 regular season games scheduled for you here on Channel 5. We will have all of the Hampton City schools appearing at least 3 times during the season here on Channel 5. Halfback option pass. The intended receiver is Sparrow, and he gets tangled up with a defender and a penalty flag is thrown.
Well, I don't know how he could call that penalty. And there's 2 flags now.
A couple of them.
But the guy, I don't know who he's going to be, but the offensive man ran up the back of Walter Ford. But that's a good play. That's a quarterback pitches to the halfback who turns around and throws it back to the quarterback.
We got offensive interference and ineligible receiver downfield, both against Wilson. Get a chance to watch this again. You'll see the pitch to Deloche. Here's Sparrow coming towards you. He's going to the right of your screen. It's thrown downfield, and he just simply runs over the Hampton defender. A good call by the official. That was truly offensive pass interference. So the penalty is marked off against Wilson. Kenny Self will tell us.
Ineligible downfield decline. Offensive pass interference is accepted, and it's loss of down.
Yes, that's the one you want to pick.
So a loss of down, which makes it 2nd down. And it'll be 2nd and 25 after the 15-yard penalty.
We saw Hampton score on that in a regional contest with Eric Hunter at quarterback receiving a pass.
Almost caught by Deloche. That was one of those almost things. It almost was intercepted. It was almost caught. And that was incomplete.
That was number 40, Carlos Johnson, who almost came up with the interception.
3rd down and 25 for the Prez. Good crowd on hand for tonight's game. A big contingent of Hampton fans and a fair number of Wilson presidents here.
Good shot of Coach Mike Smith on the sideline, and that's his young son Brian. Also in the picture is the ball boy.
Deloche shows some of his moves. He got around the corner and got all the way out to the 35-yard line, but it will be shy of the 1st down. It'll bring up a 4th down.
Well, that's their biggest running play to date. I don't know how many yards they had picked up on one carry before, but it's definitely, that's about almost 19 yards on that carry. And they're going for it, Tim. They're not punting.
This is Deloche, and Deloche will get the 1st down.
What a gutsy call by first-year head coach Joe Ledisick. Knowing you're going to punt the ball, you don't want to give it to the Crabbers inside your own 40.
Woo. Well, it is a gutsy call, but when you think about it, they have to have 2 scores.
Yes.
They're down by 9, so you got to score twice. So with 9:25 remaining in the 4th quarter, you really had to go for it. Ball is at the Wilson 45. Inside handoff, number 23 is Andre Copeland.
Sean Kemmer, 55, was the initial tackler in that, along with number 75 for the Crabbers, big Tyrone Tyne, 6'2", 245 senior.
Inside of 9 minutes remaining. Crabbers leading by 9. This is Deloche, and he picks up enough yardage to cross into Hampton territory. He will be short of a 1st down, however. It'll be 3rd down and about a yard.
Well, they got a little bit of spirit there. The Presidents, they're coming out with a little more snappiness to the step and a little more crisp blocking on that line of scrimmage.
Deloche got the 1st down across the Hampton 45 to about the 44. That personal foul against the Crabbers seemed to ignite the Presidents.
It really did. That was 55. Again, Sean Kemmer on the stop for the Crabbers from his linebacking spot. He's the right side linebacker over there, or actually, yeah, playing on the right side.
Sparrow sends 2 wide receivers to the near side. A mix-up in the backfield. Sparrow gets away, gets good yardage. A flag goes down. Sparrow has enough for the 1st down, but we'll have to wait and see about this penalty.
I think that was a clip. We got a Hampton Crabber that is hurt. That's number 35. He's up walking it off.
Ryan Milo. Clipping is the call. That will hurt the Presidents. What appeared to be a busted play, it looked like confusion in the backfield, and then you saw Sparrow scramble to his near side and picked up good yardage, but was aided by a clipping infraction in doing so. So a lot of times that'll get you extra yardage.
I don't know if we had that on the
Still
replay.
first down, right? Clipping on the offense, still first down.
It remains first down. You heard the referee Kenny Self explain it, clipping on the offense. But as big a break as that personal foul call against Hampton was for the Wilson Presidents, this is there you see the clip right there. And there's another one there if you wanted to call that one too.
That was the one I think that well, I don't know where the flag was down, but there was a couple of them, potential clips.
At the Wilson 46-yard line. Sparrow throws over the middle, one hopper, no good.
I tell you, Sparrow is putting that ball where if it's caught, it's only going to be caught by the receiver. No defender is going to be down that low to get the ball.
Clock stops with 7:37. There you see Alvis Mann on the sidelines yelling instructions to, and Danny Mitchell comes into your picture now as they are constantly communicating with the defense. Sparrow audibles at the line of scrimmage. Good protection for Sparrow, and pass almost picked off by Carlos Johnson. Johnson got there just in time to get a hand on the ball.
Well, I'm impressed with the way the Presidents run their pass routes. They run real good pass routes.
That was Quentin Morris who caught the 62-yarder earlier. There you see him on your screen. He was the intended receiver, but Carlos Johnson played it very well. Morris scored from, check that, it wasn't Morris 42, it was 24 Strawler that scored the 62-yarder. Dyslexia is a terrible thing. Third down and a ton, and Sparrow is sacked by number 74, Lloyd Tucker. So between Tucker, Newsom, and Volk, they have been real thorns in the President's sides tonight.
Well, there's no doubt in my mind that they're going to punt it this time. There's no way they're going to pick up, what is that, 10, 20-some yards.
About 30, I think.
Oh, 30 yards.
So Beaver, as I said, punting has been an experience tonight for the Presidents. Will be standing back at his 25, gets a bad snap, but is able to get the kick away. A flag down. Ball hits in the middle of the pack. It's recovered by the Presidents, but let's again wait while they unravel this.
But who did it hit?
Well, I don't know. And again, there's all kinds of rules about the impetus of the ball and all this stuff. So it's a legal procedure against the Presidents. So at worst, they'll kick it again. And at best, the Crabbers could have it in Wilson territory.
That was such a low kick. It was hard. I know it hit a player. Here we go with Kenny Self.
Only had 6 men on the line of scrimmage for the offense. That penalty's declined. It's Red's ball going this way.
So it was not enough men on the line of scrimmage. First game mistakes, that a lot of these things will not happen later in the season, but both teams are playing under the same conditions.
Well, I know that the first order of business for the Presidents is to come up with a kicker and a place kicker.
Flags again on the play.
May have been quick movement on the Crabber side, I don't know.
Illegal procedure against the Crabbers. Someone might have left early.
And Alan Parker picked that up. He said the left end.
Alan Parker, who is our slow-mo man.
Slow-mo man.
For the lawnmower man.
Illegal formation on the offense. Still first down.
Oh, illegal formation. You got to have at least 7 men on the line of scrimmage. I don't know if that's what it was or what the call.
Nonetheless, the penalty assessed against the Crabbers, 1st and 15. Clock is restarted with 6:15 remaining in the ball game. Crabbers with the ball and a 9-point lead. Fumble by Logerman, and he apparently recovered his own.
Well, he had a defender hanging on him as he was coming back, which caused him to lose the ball, but he was heads up recovered his own fumble.
A little more than 5.5 minutes to go. Well, your assessments, Bob, of the way these two teams have looked tonight?
Well, you see some dragginess on both teams. I think the Crabbers are much more efficient on that line of scrimmage. They're doing a great job of controlling the line of scrimmage and helping the running game. Wilson on the other side seems to have a tremendous ability in throwing the ball, especially for the long ones, although they did run the ball quite effectively on that last series of downs that they had.
The interception, as we were talking about that, the ball underthrown by Logerman, and the intended receiver was Desmond Wilson, but it was picked off by Dennis Strother.
Tim, we got to be thinking about the player of the game. I tell you, Tucker, Fenner, Kimmer, Volk, Newsom are just a few who come to mind real quick.
Yeah, there's an awful lot of good choices. Deloche is bulldogged down for a loss. That defense for Hampton's just been awesome tonight.
Reuben Volk was in there, disrupted the timing on that play.
Also in on that last play was 55 Sean Kemmer, and a young man who has not seen much action after having come out earlier in this second half. 32 Michael Fenner played a real fine first half, so
yes,
a lot of good effort. I'm sorry, our director said something and I didn't hear what he said.
I think he was saying he liked Fenner.
Back to pass. Downfield, almost picked off. And almost after every play, you want to look around for one of those yellow hankies, as we've had a fair share of those. Sparrow getting good pressure, unloaded it, and almost had it picked off. Stops the clock with 4:17 remaining. 3rd down and 11 for the Presidents. The ball is at their 15-yard line.
Me too.
And again, Newsom and Mr. Fenner, the one we just talked about, is back in the ball game. Michael Fenner and Myron Newsom. Tough call to make on our player of the game here.
I'm kind of leaning towards young Mr. Reuben Volk right now, Tim. A 6'2", 180-pound junior has done an excellent job offensive and defensive, as all the players that play both ways.
Fourth down and 13 for the Presidents. They will be kicking the ball. Again, Beaver standing at his goal line. Gets a pretty good snap and gets the kick away. One of the few clean punts that he's had. This is Carlos Johnson. Johnson wrestled out of bounds inside the 30. Johnson looks like he likes returning punts.
Yes, he does.
So the Crabbers will set up with 3:24 remaining. Well, I'll tell you, I'm not always at a loss on my choices here, but I like the way Newsom played. I like the way Volk played. Kemmer certainly played well. Tucker played well. I'll go with Volk. I have to agree with you. I think Reuben Volk has played a superb game, as many of the Crabbers have. And it's kind of always nice to give it to a lineman They don't always get all the glory.
It was a toss-up between Volk and Fenner. I tell you, both of them, that's who ought to come down to. And
well, Myron Newsom.
Yeah, well.
Newsom. I mean, he's been all over the field.
Yeah, he has.
So let's give it to Mr. Volk.
Okay, sounds good.
Ruben Volk it is. Maybe you'll get a chance to chat with him. Are you going to try and go down at the end of the game?
I don't have an earpiece, so I can't hear down there, so I'm not going on the field.
A timeout on the field with 3:24 remaining. It's first down and 10 for the Crabbers. You know, we didn't talk much about the field condition tonight, but it was in very good condition under all the circumstances with all the rain we've had and the cool weather. I know you were talking to Wayne McGore.
I was talking to Larry Malloy.
Larry Malloy.
He said that he's kind of disappointed because the Bermuda is just sitting there not growing because it hadn't been hot enough. And he says it's like it's just looking at me and saying, hi there, but we're not moving. But the field, under the conditions, I think, is in pretty good shape.
Here's a replay of the interception. Kind of a badly thrown pass, but didn't hurt the Crabbers. They played defense and got the ball back anyway. Well, anyway, Larry Malloy and his crew, as always, do a great job in preparing to take it. Walter Ford is going to score from 29 yards out.
Nice job by the left side of that line. I've just talked about it all night. What a job they do opening up holes for those runners. And, of course, once Mr. Ford got through the line of scrimmage, he put on a burst of speed, just ran everybody.
Ford has shown real fine speed all night long, and that will bring him up to a total of 88 yards on the night on 7 carries. And, of course, he didn't get a lot of our references for player of the game, but he certainly was a very strong candidate for that position as well. And the extra point try is good by Mark Lamham, and he's found himself a spot kicking the PAT. So the Crabbers stretch that lead out now to 28-12. There you see the Hampton faithful. A lot of them heading for the parking lot now with just 3:16 remaining. And they have seen the Hampton Crabbers take on the defending state champion Wilson Presidents and beat them pretty good. So the Crabbers led by just a single point at halftime, 7-6. But the scoring barrage in the second half, 21 points for the Crabbers.
And yeah, I don't have, what's the yardage does Gary have for the Crabbers on the ground, Tim?
Well, on the ground for the Crabbers, they have 205 net yards, led by Ford's 88, 51 for Newsom, 44 for Ellison, and 30 for Milo. So a fine effort from that backfield right down the line. 200 plus yards for the Hampton Crabbers. And their offensive line has done a great job tonight. This is Strother. He has been all over the field all night long for the Presidents. The Crabber defense will come back on the field. If I could give a player of the game award to more than one, I would be very tempted to give it to the whole offensive line of the Hampton
absolutely.
Crabbers.
I was amazed at when the Hampton Crabbers came out the second half, and when they got possession of the ball and they moved that down the field and they went on the right side, and boom, over the left side and scored.
Well, how many times have we seen Hampton be in a tough game in the first half against an opponent, play them pretty evenly, or in this case, in many ways, outplay them, but still lead by a small margin at halftime, and then make those halftime adjustments that they are really quite famous for doing. They come out and they make those adjustments, and the other team just rarely comes back. Sparrow with one man to get by, a flag down.
We got two flags down.
Yeah, a couple of flags. Aaron Sparrow with the outcome of this game pretty much decided, still picks up great yardage. Let's see what the call is. Clipping call against Wilson on the run. Boy, that clip is such a dangerous situation. You can really hurt a player. seriously.
Well, this is from the point of the foul. It'll only take them like, they'll still have like a second and first and 5.
See if we can pick up the clipping call here. This is
Clipping on the offense. It's
right
still
here,
first
number
down.
64 is going to get clipped in the back. It's just right out of our picture.
Yeah, you can't see it in our coverage. You see Ford was there to put the final stop on Sparrow, but that was well after the clipping penalty had been called, and now a timeout called by Wilson.
Well, it'll be a 1st and 7. But Tim, you know, you're right about the way the Crabbers make adjustments at halftime and came out in the second half and just dominated the line of scrimmage. It demoralizes the other team. You got to play catch up. You're not used to playing catch up when you're a team like Wilson, who has been just a power in Division 5 for many years, and all of a sudden now you're playing catch up. You're playing against a fine team, and as Coach of the district said at the beginning of the game, if you're going to have to start off with somebody, you might as well start off with the best. He knows the Hampton Crabber mystique. He knows the record, and he feels like this is the best team he'll probably play all year.
Well, I don't know all the details, and I wouldn't even start to suppose that I did, but there's been rumors that for years the Crabbers have been inviting Wilson to play them on any field, and Wilson has declined because they knew they were going to have their hands full. Now, that's a Peninsula rumor, and I can't tell you where it started and who said it and how many people said it, but that's been something that's been said for quite some time. But a lot of teams have had a hard time filling out their schedule beyond the Peninsula District. Teams didn't want to play them.
That's correct. There's a few years in a row the Crabbers couldn't get an outside opponent, and they were playing just nine games instead of the complement of 10.
That's right. And this will probably prevent another team from doing that for a while.
And this is right here the reason, as you said, they didn't want to do it. You're right.
Clock is moving with 2 minutes remaining.
I know the point I wanted to make. Hampton Crabbers picked up over 200 yards with 4 different backs. Not the quarterback, but 4 different running backs. So now if you're a defender, you know, you can't pick on one back.
Pitch near side. Wrestled out of bounds is 23, Andre Copeland, and stops the clock with 1:41 remaining. So the Crabbers will win their first game of the season convincingly. And Wilson will lose for the first time in at least the last 15 games, as they were 14-0 last year. And I would assume they lost because they did not win the championship the year before, so they obviously had a 14-game win streak, and that will come to a screeching halt here at Darling Stadium. Again, Copeland, and he is chased out of bounds by Walter Ford. But again, you see now, of course, the game is no longer in doubt. The running attack is working for the Presidents.
I was watching some of the blocking that time. One of the defenders for the Hampton Crabbers let the defender get too close to him and then hold him off with his arms, and as a result was out of position to make the tackle. Those are the kind of things that this Hampton Crabber coaching staff will pick up and correct.
Copeland again gets the call. Copeland is a senior, only 5'6", 155. And again, I remind you that with the realignment of the divisions, Hampton and Wilson could very easily meet again before the whole year is over with.
That's true.
Later on in postseason action. There's a lot of games to be played between now and then. And I'm sure Bethel and other teams like them in the Peninsula District will have something to say about that. And another sack.
And that's again Newsom.
Myron Newsom. Boy, he has enjoyed feasting on quarterbacks tonight.
Danny Mitchell has done a fine job with that line, both offensively and defensively. They have really done the job on the Presidents tonight.
5 sacks for 43 yards. 5 lost yardage. Deloche trying to turn the corner. Gets by all but one man. Finally is tripped up with 5 seconds remaining. And I don't believe Wilson will try and stop the clock. They will not.
And that's the end of the game, Tim.
So the Hampton Crabbers win their initial game with Wilson. Their first game of the season, 28-12. And Ruben Volk is our player of the game. And certainly he played an outstanding game, as did many other Hampton Crabbers. A game that I'm sure Mike Smith and his coaching staff will be very pleased with. We want to thank the folks here, Larry Malloy and all the fine crew at Darling Stadium, for their always cooperative help for our crew setting up for the game. And of course, we want to thank our crew, our camera people tonight, Melvin Hooker, Ron Baton, Jerome Young. Manning the slow motion was Alan Parker. Our producer was Dr. Sam Stills, our director Scotty Bowers, and Beverly Paxton Penn, right? Paxton Penn? Penn Paxton.
Paxton Penn.
Paxton Penn, I got it right the first time. Doing the graphics with our new and improved graphic illustrator there. So that's going to do it. Your comments before we wrap it up, huh?
But Tim, I'm impressed with this Hampton Crabber team. The offensive and defensive line, for the most part, controlled the line of scrimmage, and that's why you see the score. But you got 4 backs who can run the ball and can break it. You got a quarterback who's got a good arm. As he settles down, as the season goes, he's going to start hitting his wide receivers. They played a great game on defense, limiting a good Wilson team to not very many yards overall. Mike Smith has got to be happy with it. I'm sure he sees some things that needs corrected, but the coaching staff always does a great job. Wilson, on the other hand, met probably the top, where he thinks is one of the top teams in the state, Division 5. You know, he's got his work cut out for him, but they played a great team tonight.
Well, the final score again, the Hampton Crabbers 28, the Woodrow Wilson Presidents 12. For Bob Hintz, this is Tim Cole and the entire crew. Thanks for watching. Hope you'll join us next time here on Channel 5 for high school football. Good evening, everybody.
Schaffner, your Channel 5 halftime announcer. Commanding the field this evening is the Hampton High School Marching Crabber Band under the direction of Mr. Rick Allison and drum majors Randy Marcotte and Shawan Walden. After 2 weeks of band camp, they are opening with the entrance from Dvorak's New World Symphony, which will perform also Sweet Sweet Lord, which will be followed by the finale from New World Symphony. This year's band is modeled after the Phantom Regiment Drum and Bugle Corps. Sit back and enjoy. The Hampton High School Marching Crabber Band will perform all 4 movements of the New World Symphony by the Hampton Kick-A-Tan Game. Watch for it. Until then, Channel 5 invites you to join us next week when we will showcase another talented Hampton City Schools band. I am Karen Schaffner. Good night.